There's a little place in Kentucky most maps don't even bother to name. Polksville, just a few miles of gravel road and rusting mailboxes tucked between hills, hollers, and oak-lined ridgelines. A quiet town, barely a blip, but to the folks who live here, it's home. People in Polksville are hard workers, farmers, carpenters, welders, and coalmen who learn to fix what breaks and make do with what they've got. And when the work is done, they go outside, fishing in spring, turkey in April, and come fall. Well, that's deer season. Nothing else quite compares. But lately, something's changed. It started with whispers. Campers coming back early, eyes wide, not saying much. Dogs that won't go near the tree line. Hunters swearing they saw something move, something big, too fast to be a bear, too upright to be anything else. Old Clyde Evans, he's been hunting these woods since '73, said he caught a glimpse of it through his scope one morning. Thought it was a man at first. Tall, black, hulking. But the way it moved? Said it wasn't natural. Said it wasn't right. And it's not just one person, no. A girl out picking ginseng ran back to town screaming, left her pack and tools behind. A trail cam caught a shape only for one frame, but it didn't look like any deer or bobcat. Some folks say it's just stories. Imagination, stirred up by the long shadows of fall. But others, the older ones, say it's happened before. That something stirs in these woods when the leaves start to turn, when the first frost hits the grass. They don't say its name, not out loud. Just call it a thing in the trees. They say if you hear knocking at dusk, you don't knock back. If you smell something rotten and musky, like a dead animal bloating along a river, you turn around and leave. Quietly. Polksville might be a forgotten town, but the forest around it, it remembers. And lately, it feels like something in there is watching, waiting, whatever it is. It's more than a whisper, and as one young go-hunter explains, something else now hunts these woods, and its name is Bigfoot.
It was early November. It's cold enough for frost, but not yet bitter. I was deep in the backwoods, a place few locals even bother going anymore, the old pine thicket near Split Rock Ridge. The deer moved through there just before dusk, dropping from the higher ridges to bed down in the thick, dark pines. It's always been quiet, peaceful even. I'd hunted that stretch for years. Everything seemed perfect. I had the wind in my favor, sharpened broadheads and camo from head to toe, a full thermos, a clear view of the trail, and hours to hunt. I was in my ground blind before the sun even started dropping towards my horizon. Perfect, or so I thought. Right around 7:15, the woods changed. I mean full panic mode. Eyes wide, tongues out, bolting through saplings like a wildfire was behind them. At first it was subtle. Birds stopped chirping. The breeze died. Even the squirrels went still. Then it hit. Deer. At least a dozen came crashing down the ridge from all directions. I've seen deer spook before, but this was different. No, they weren't running from a coyote or a bear. This was pure fear, unfiltered. My instinct screamed something's wrong. I gripped my bow tighter, but didn't move. Didn't even breathe. That's when I heard it. Heavy, fast, two-footed. Brush exploded behind them, and then I saw it. Black, massive, 8 feet tall at least. Broad shoulders, long arms that swayed as it ran, but it was fast, too fast. It wasn't lumbering like a bear. It was hunting. Sprinting upright, slicing through the trees like it had done this 1,000 times. Then it turned slightly, heading directly for me. It ran right past my blind. Close enough I could smell it. But something in my gut whispered, "It's not gone. It's watching." I slowly moved back into thicker cover. I should be out of sight. The sun hadn't even set yet, but the thicket seemed to absorb the light. My face paint was sweating off. My legs wanted to move now, but I had to wait. I knew it was something I should have never seen. It cuts along the ridge and drops down toward the fields behind our farm. That smell, I'll never forget it. It wasn't just an animal smell. It was musk, wet fur, rot, and something worse, like death itself, dripping old blood. Every step felt like I was being followed. Like something knew I was out of place. Frozen. I don't even know why. Maybe instinct, maybe terror. Then I hit that line, snapped the thing clean in half like it was balsa wood, and kept running after the deer. My heart was in my throat, but I stayed still. I don't think it saw me, at least that's what I had hoped. The forest went dead quiet again, not peaceful. Silent. My hands were trembling. I told myself I'd wait till sunset. Wait till I was sure it was long gone. And then I noticed it was getting darker, way too fast. I had to go. I slipped out the back of my blind, bow in hand, and made for the old logging trail. I didn't run, not at first, just moved fast and quiet. Then, maybe 100 yards from the field, I just lost it. Took off full sprint, heart hammering, gear clattering, and that's when I hit it. Single, rusted strand of barbed wire, strung across the trail, barely knee-high. I never saw it. Caught me clean, flipped me straight into the dirt. I laid there for a second, ears ringing, breath gone. My shirt was ripped. My leg was bleeding. Didn't care. Then I heard something move. Something heavy. Back in the trees. I scrambled up, didn't even check my bow, and ran. I cut across the field, half limping, covered in mud and leaves. When I saw the light on in the kitchen window, I almost cried. I slammed through the back door, breathing hard, soaked in sweat, shaking like a leaf. My mom was at the stove, frying bacon or sausage or something. She didn't even look up at first. I said, "Ma, I think I saw a Bigfoot." She stirred the pan, looked over her shoulder, and said plain as day, "Yeah, they've been seen around here." Then went back to cooking, like it was nothing. It's hard to believe that was 3 years ago. I haven't been back to that ridge since. I'm not sure I ever will, because the pines don't sleep, and something else now hunts these woods. And judging from the guttural growls and snapping trees heard just out of sight, I get the distinct feeling that we are no longer welcome here.
Since this reported sighting, there has been a recent spike in sightings and encounters from around the country. I'm going to show you where Bigfoot has been spotted in the U.S. and Alaska. We're going to look at the hotspots. I have a map here that I'm going to zoom into different areas to show you where these hotspots are and some of the more recent sightings. The first one we're going to look at is in California. This is a very famous area for Bigfoot sightings. We've got Mount Shasta here. This is where the Modoc and Shasta Trinity National Forests are. And this is just south of the Oregon border. There's actually a Bigfoot Discovery Museum just north of this in the town of Mount Shasta. Going over to the east side of the state, we're going to see some hotspots up in the Sierra Nevada mountain range. These are just east of Lake Tahoe. Bigfoot has been spotted in this area many times. Now let's go up to Washington. We're going to see that there is a Bigfoot hotspot that's just east of Mount St. Helens, and then another one that's south of Mount Rainier. This is near a place called Ashford, Washington. Let's go over to the Oregon side. There's a hotspot here near Crater Lake National Park, and then another one down near the California border. These are some of the most famous areas for Bigfoot sightings. In Idaho, there's a large area here in the Panhandle that has had Bigfoot sightings. There's actually a Bigfoot research center in Moscow, Idaho. And finally, Alaska. There's an area in the southern part of the state, near Seward, that has had very recent activity reported, especially in some of the secluded fishing villages along the coast. These are some of the hotspots for Bigfoot sightings in the United States and Alaska, happening every day. If you want to stay up to date on the latest Bigfoot sightings, be sure to like, share, and comment on this video, and hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on our latest videos, survival tips, and Sasquatch satire.